I saved a blue-skinned girl during the war a decade ago. Today, she returned and said, "Neil, human." 10 years ago, during the worst of the Terran-Talari War, I found her under a collapsed structure. Small, scared, her arm twisted the wrong way, covered in soot and blood. She didn't look more than 10. Blue skin, luminous silver eyes. A Talari child. Our orders were clear. No survivors. But she wasn't holding a weapon. She wasn't a threat. She was just a girl. I lifted the debris off her, carried her out on my back while gunfire rained around us. When she opened her eyes and saw my face, a human face, she flinched. "I'm not going to hurt you," I said. "You'll live. I promise." She didn't speak. I left her at a neutral zone med station. I never even got her name. War moved on. So did I. But I never forgot her. And now, 10 years later, she stood in front of me, tall, elegant, cloaked in star-stitched robes. A crown hovered slightly above her forehead, forge of silver light. The same silver eyes locked onto mine. She had grown, and the first thing she said was, "Neil, human." I didn't kneel. Not yet, because I was in my mechanics shed on Mars 6, not some royal court. I still wore grease on my hands and oil on my shirt. I'd spent the last decade rebuilding ships, not bowing to queens. But the 6 Talari guards at her back didn't look like they were in the mood for explanations. I cleared my throat. "I take it you remember me?" Her eyes softened for just a moment. "You carried me through fire," she said. "I remember your heartbeat. You were trembling." "That's because I was being shot at." She stepped closer. "And still, you did not kill me. You disobeyed your own orders. That one act changed everything." I said nothing. What could I say? She continued, "Because of you, I survived. Because I survived, I exposed what my people were doing to civilians." The war ended 2 years later. That was news to me. I hadn't followed politics much since my discharge. She looked at the guards. "Leave us." The armored giants filed out wordlessly. Now it was just her and me. She studied my face again, taking in every line. "I came here for a reason. You saved me, and I owe you a debt, one far greater than even I understood back then." I raised an eyebrow. "So what's with the Neil human thing? Doesn't sound like a thank you." She gave a small smile, the first one. "I needed to see if you still had a spine. I'm pleased to find that you do." I chuckled. "So this is Talari royalty humor?" "No, this is an offer." She extended her hand. "You saved me once. Now I ask you to stand at my side, not as a subject, as an equal." I blinked. "Wait, equal? My father, the old emperor, died last cycle. I have taken the throne. But there are still those in my empire who see humans as filth. You were the first human I knew with honor. I want you to become my shield bearer, my most trusted protector. You want me to be your royal guard?" "More than that," she said softly. "A symbol, a reminder to both Talari and Terrans that we are not bound by bloodlines. We are bound by choices." I leaned back against the workbench, mind spinning. "I'm no soldier anymore," I said. "I'm a tired man who fixes old ships. You really want me standing in your court?" "I want the man who carried a broken girl through fire when he had every reason to walk away," she replied. "That man is rare and needed." Her voice was sincere, regal but real. I rubbed my jaw. "You're not making this easy." "I could have chosen a dozen warriors," she said, "but none of them risked their lives for their enemies." The Talari War had left deep scars across both sides. I'd spent years trying to forget the screams, the heat, the things I'd done. But maybe she was right. Maybe the things we do, even the smallest, echo louder than we think. You got a name? I asked. Her expression changed again, another flicker of warmth. I did not have one the day you saved me, but I took one after the war. I am called Varellin. Nice to meet you again, Varellin. She stepped closer. And your name? Jace Marin. She nodded. Jace. Kneel, not as a servant, but as a man who once defied kings. Then rise, not as a soldier, but as a symbol. I looked into her eyes. And this time I did kneel, not because I was lesser, but because I believed in what that kneeling meant. She placed her hand on my shoulder, and when I stood, it felt like I was rising not into war, but into something bigger. A second chance. A future not built on destruction, but hope. The days that followed were a whirlwind. Talari rogues replaced my mechanic's gear. Weapons I'd never seen before were strapped to my side. Protocols, royal briefings, security layers, all suddenly mine to command. But the biggest shock came at the Coronation Summit, attended by Terran and Talari leaders alike. Varellin stood tall, her crown pulsing with energy. At her side, me, the human she once feared. During her speech, she gestured to me and said, "This is Jace Marin. He carried me through death. He showed me humanity when my kind showed only cruelty. Today, he is not my slave, not my decoration. He is proof that kindness in darkness is more powerful than war." The room was silent. Then, for the first time in decades, both Talari and Terran leaders stood and applauded together. That night, after the crowds faded, I stood beside her under a foreign sky. She looked up at the stars, eyes distant. "I hated humans once," she said, "until one of them broke the cycle. I wasn't trying to be a hero," I said. "Just couldn't leave a kid behind." She turned to me. "And that is exactly why you are one.